So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil finds his groove in them rhythm and blues that send. It's gonna get you sun in the end.
Welcome back to the Speakeasy special live from Tales of the Cocktail Edition. As you can see, we're here taking this whole endeavor incredibly seriously. I'm here. This is actually, y'all are in for a treat. Not only are you getting some extra skin, which, you know, we're not going to paywall this. We thought about it, but you know what? We're like, you know what? We love you, and you're worth it. So,
well, Pornhub's got age restrictions in Louisiana now, and nobody wants to upload their birth cert just to watch some stepsister porn. So we've got to let this free for the people, Greg.
it's true. We're also cross-promoting this with the Philip Duff show, so this is going to be on both feeds. So there you go. So we are here at the House of Procera with the guys of Procera. Am I doing that right? We got Guy over here to my left, and then over here we have Alan. So, fellas, I was drinking a single tree gin earlier. What's a single tree gin? Tell me a little bit about that.
Single tree gin. Okay, there's a little bit of history about Procera. Procera, African equatorial gin. All the botanicals are from Africa. But the single tree gin is my favorite gin, which is why I tend to talk about it the most. And for me, being Kenyan from Nairobi, specifically from that area where the juniper comes from, it's very special to my heart because it's all the juniper from one tree that makes that gin. So
that
unlike
sounds like a lot of work, man.
It is. We have a bunch of guys who go around making sure the monkeys don't eat all the juniper berries, and we go and harvest all the juniper berries when they've been fully sun ripened and they're nice and juicy and tasty. So we harvest that, we collect it, bring it up back to the distillery, and then we make this amazing gin out of it. And it's just one botanical, and makes this super amazing gin the best gin in the world.
I mean, I had some earlier. It was pretty. I mean, I could describe it, but what made you pick that particular tree? Because there's got to be, you had choices, right? Like, what about that one called to you, and how do you even begin selecting the process for making something like that?
Good question. So our process is very similar to my history is brewing, so beer. I love my wine, so I was trained in California together with a lot of other winemakers. I'm a chef as well. But what we look at is the quality of the ingredient. We look at the level of ripeness of the ingredient. We look at the how well it's positioned at that point to be harvested and to be consumed. So when we choose a tree that has been sun ripened. The climate, the vintage, the atmosphere, all plays a part in all of that. And we have to make sure that the berries are at its optimum prime. So once we do that and we choose the tree, we test the berries, and the guys who have been trained now to pick the best trees for it, pick the right berries, the right ripeness, the right juiciness, the intensity that we're looking for. And especially like wine, if the vintage is good, if we have good sunlight, we're on the equator after all, so we have the most sunlight in the world. When it gets to its optimum ripeness, then we pick it.
I'm going to jump in here.
Please.
This is certified member, Warden Rectifier of the Gin Guild, founded in 1638 in London. What's very important to know about...
he does that on every single one of his podcasts. Every single
rank
episode.
On every podcast, right? Let nobody else speak for me. But one of the things that's utterly unique about Procera Gin is that it's made from a different juniper than anywhere else in the world. There's about 80 varieties of juniper. Only 2 of them are permitted for production in the EU, Juniperus communis, which is the common juniper, and Juniper oxycetrus, the red one. And they both come from like stubby little trees that old Italian men hit with sticks to harvest the berries in Italy and Eastern Europe. I mean, that's literally how it goes. Juniper procera is quite literally a different animal. It's an 80-foot tall tree that only grows in equatorial regions, so Africa and the Middle East as well. And it is, I mean, Greg, you tasted some of the berries today. It's a very, very different thing. And I'm going to answer the question that many of the listeners will be asking themselves, which is, how is Philip so handsome? I'm like Pilates, a bit of weights, you know.
The answer is he's not.
I try to do protein. But the other question that they might be asking is, how is Procera for sale? How is it Alessandro Palazzi of Duke's Bar's favorite gin? It's because they put a single juniper communis berry in every batch. They can actually sell it in Europe, but it is from the Juniperus procerus berry, which is an and again, I wish that they could pay me enough to actually say this, but it really is a game changer. So when Alan talks about this foraging team who camp out for a week more, like they're climbing an 80-foot tree to get some berries and come back down, and then it's like, no, not good enough. And at the end of a week, they're like, this is it. This is one tree to rule them all, and less than 2,000 bottles are made. They sell out on arrival. You're lucky if you ever even get to taste Green Dot. It's a remarkable, expensive tip of the spear for the whole Procera project that is propagated on the hands of the major, always available Procera Blue Dot.
Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about Blue Dot, because I'm assuming these aren't Green Dot martinis here that we're drinking. Yeah?
They're not.
I mean, we're not
on the Joe Rogan show. I'm sorry. if Joe calls me, it's Green Dot all the fucking way, or even Theo Von.
Yeah,
but
well, I refuse to put a shirt on for either of them. They got to come to the pool here. Those are the rules.
If you're listening, Joe.
Yep, exactly.
You know where I live, Joe.
Yes, you can drop something in the comments.
Africa.
We'll know it's you.
We live in Africa.
Yeah, use the code phrase. So tell me a little bit about Blue Dot, because that sounds like that would be a little bit more possible to actually try for most people, because it sounds like the Green Dot is very, very rare. The Blue Dot, walk me through that process. How is that made, and how would you say that is also very, very different from a lot of the other gins that are on the market, guys?
You want to take this, guy?
Should I take this?
You should,
It
but you should
involves
also pick up your
lifting
microphone.
up the microphone. Technology that hasn't reached up yet.
Is this thing on?
It's way
Hello?
down south, yes.
My favorite joke in the whole world. No. Blue Dot is the essence of what we do at Procera. It was designed, and we worked backwards, and we retrofitted how to make the best martini gin in the world. And every time we distilled every batch of Procera, we put it in a martini straight away, and we said, is this exactly what we want to do? And that's what it is. It works very well in all classic cocktails. It works very well in a lot of different ways. It has three things which are completely different. It has a fresh juniper. It has an African juniper, which is has essential oils, which no juniper in the world will ever have. But it has also our great master distiller, Roger, who died a month ago, unfortunately.
Roger. To Roger, everybody. Roger Jorgensen.
To Roger, the man who, in many people's mind, changed distilling in Africa and changed distilling in gin, because we do not distill anything in our pot. There's no organic matter in our pot, and that's because of Roger. Every gin distillery since fucking like 300 years ago put everything in. They were trying to extract every essential oil. We don't need to do that now because we have a base neutral spirit. So what we have is a very elegant pot of all the essential oils, but there's no physical matter. So when it distills for 6 hours, there's no physical over extraction of organic matter because it's not in there. And that's Roger's genius. And that's why Procera, and we want to share this, but this is why Roger's genius, gin can be so much more elegant and complicated than it is in people's opinions. And that's Roger who did that.
I mean, this is definitely, it's taken me a second to put my finger on it, and definitely not because I've had several of these since I got here at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's definitely not the reason. But there is a different experience to the flavor of these things. There's a different, intensity, it's softness, but there's also kind of like a bite to it. I don't know.
And greenness as well. The vegetal
exactly,
note.
yeah.
Because it's fresh juniper. If you distill fresh juniper, you get the fucking terroir of the place.
And, okay, you know what? You just helped me put my finger on what it was reminding me of. It kind of reminds me of like some of my favorite mezcals, which have that kind of like earthy slate. I don't know. If you're a regular listener to their show, you know that I like things that taste like dirt and rocks, and like it has a little bit of that like very intense green, sharp slatiness to it.
Because it's not dry, because it's vegetal, because it's a plant. It's not being dried. It's not in a fucking distillation. It's exactly that, man.
I mean, this is probably a time to interject again. And dried juniper berries are a commodity globally, like frozen orange juice or pork bellies or whatever, and they're traded. You know, you can look at companies owned by an Irish guy, Beacon Commodities in England. They introduced a system about 10 years ago that they buy like all the juniper in the world and they process it. It used to be you processed it through like eventual filters, and they do that still. But they take high-res photos of every single berry, and the photo sorts the berries. So the big, sexy, blue-black ones, those go to the best gin producers in the world, and the shitty ones they sell them to like German sausage makers. So there's a company in England
that's crazy.
called Beacon
That's true.
Commodities that has a high-res photo of every
I know
single,
Tommy very well. Yeah.
every single juniper berry that has gone into, I know, the finest gins in the world, apart from Procera, for a long time. So what we're trying to say is Procera is actually made with fresh, non-dried juniper berries. That's different. That's all.
I mean,
And hence the guys who have to climb the trees.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't actually. I have to assume they didn't get a vote in this.
No.
Like, they're all like, buy the fucking dried stuff. Like, you know.
I mean, for that, it's like, why even tell them that there's another option? Just kind of be like, oh yeah, no, this is how we get all the berries, man. Yeah, it's tough. This is why gin is so expensive.
Actually, I want to ask a question that occurred to me. Now, it's impossible to tell if you're watching this on video which of the four of us is from Africa. So I'm going to tell you now. It's Alan, right? And I have some knowledge of the history of gin and even Geneva in Africa, but it's mostly on the West Coast. You grew up in Kenya.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with gin? Like, when do you remember hearing about it, or?
So there's these two aspects to the story. So our history with gin in Kenya, where we have a strong old British tradition of sundowners. So one of the events we're doing in the next 1 hour, which I need to cook for, is a sundowner. And it's a traditional thing of drinking gin at the end of the day. As the sun is going down, and the reason for that was because of malaria. So in East Africa, we have issues with mosquitoes and malaria, and the quinine in the tonic helps to protect against malaria. So the British brought in gin to East Africa, and the tradition of drinking gin and tonic was there to help protect against malaria. So the tradition of a sundowner started from there. But for me personally, my father, the first drink I ever had in my life was actually a gin tonic, because my father loved gin tonics. It was not a very good quality gin. It was quite rough. First time I had a sip of it, I almost threw up.
Yes, we had very similar
Yeah, I almost threw up, and that's the honest truth. So that's the one aspect of the story, and then the other aspect of the story is in terms of Procera and Juniperus procera and the trees that we harvest from. They're from an area called Limuru, which is about an hour out of Nairobi. And that area, the people from that particular area, they call Juniperus procera Mtarakwa. So my wife is actually from that area. So one of the things, I did an interview the other day, and I was on TV, on national TV, and my father-in-law saw the interview, and he's like, "That's Alan. Like, what is he talking about?" So then my wife's sister, explained to him, like, "No, this is about what he does, the gin that he sells in the US." He's like, "But that's eaten by monkeys. Like, what's he doing selling gin by something that's eaten by monkeys? We all know that it's eaten by monkeys." So traditionally in that area, like because the berries are so bright and so fresh and so juicy, the monkeys got on the Procera boat before we did. What we realized is that they're onto something. So we chase them away, and then we use that fruit to make something that is world-beating.
Okay, so when we're talking about a single tree thing, do you kind of use them to? Is there a system where they're kind of your advanced scouts in a way?
No, the monkeys are our enemies. Chase the monkeys away.
Okay. But after that, how do you find how do you pick this is the fucking
So it's the plumpness, the juiciest, the sweetest, the most ripe fruits that we're looking for. So that as the trees are massive, they're very tall. Again, equatorial, so it's an equatorial gin. So they grow very tall. So you have to make sure that all the fruits are consistent and sun ripened completely.
So let me. I feel like I heard some peanut gallery commentary over here because I wanna orient back here, especially because of something you said earlier, Guy. You said that this changed distillation in Africa forever, and I want you to delve deeper into that comment. What was it like before? And now that it's been changed, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for African distillation? And what does that mean for everybody else?
For me, it's super exciting. We were really excited to make what we consider the best gin in the world, and to start distilling something fresh from Africa, and to do all that. But then all of a sudden, there's all these other people all around Africa making great rums. There's a Japanese guy in Nanyuki, north of Kenya, making soju. There's guys dude, they're and because we are the undistilled continent, no one's distilled all the great shit we have in our amazing continent, and that's exciting to me.
Can I grab the mic for a second?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, there was a fourth mic around here somewhere.
White guy.
We've switched places.
White guy telling the Africans about their history. But generally in colonies, not just Africa, but even Ireland or Spain, distillation was banned. Right? You had to distill, and distilling was banned in various parts of Africa for a very long time. And then if you did distill, you're only allowed to make shitty stuff. And this is actually a gin history of Africa. You could make it from millet or sorghum, which are not great for making gin. So this is playing into what Guy said.
Are they or not? That's the question.
Right. Well, exactly. So go on, Guy.
Well, no, that was the end. Thank you for that.
That's it. You're welcome. Thank you.
So
that's the show, everybody. Tune in next time.
So what I believe, and we're running our whole vision about, this is a different, Procera is a different gin because there's a different terroir, but there's different agaves, there's different grapes, there's different sorghum millet, which you shouldn't disrespect, Philip. They have amazing different things, like the Chinese sorghum, and they need to, and you're allowed, and everyone's allowed to have their opinion, but everyone's allowed to not say what they think's good or bad. You're allowed to so we think this is a great little moment. People like Procera, these things we've tried today. We've tried amazing agaves, things people have not. You tried some of those, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I always joke on the show that I always knew I had expensive taste, but was never going to be rich. So I was like, what field can I get into where I'll just be able to try all of this awesome, delicious, rare, expensive shit for free? And frankly, I think I did a pretty good job.
Oh, Greg, can we talk now about ancestral agave syrup?
Oh my God, I would love to talk. Well, actually, we've rebranded as Kyote.
Nice.
Kyote Imports. But
Let's
yes,
talk.
I'd be happy to. Well, I mean, I don't know. Is that might be a separate podcast, because I want to ask a little bit more kind of about something that you touched on,
Please.
which is that you called Africa the undistilled continent, which tells me that there's a ton of untapped, unrealized stuff that could be amazing and delicious. Do you see that as a future move for Procera? Is gin just kind of an opening shot? After this, you're going to be like, okay, we're keeping the sort of, botanical neutral spirit thing, but we're moving away from juniper. We're moving into something cool that you've never even heard of before.
I'll take this one.
What's the next? Okay, yeah, go for it.
No, we believe we are changing the world of gin. This is going to completely fundamentally change the world of gin. We can make a rum, we can make other things, but we don't have a different fundamental base ingredient which is fundamentally better than everything else that makes the other version of ours. So no, we're all about gin. That's it.
Yeah. then does that mean someone else is going to do that? Or
All right, well, let me jump in. The thing that Guy has been expensively overeducated, as have I, and now that he can't hear us, I'm going to say that the most impressive. Jesus Christ, fuck me. I'm going to call ICE. Yeah. No. Seriously, they keep the good people out. He gets in, Jesus. But one of the most impressive things that Alan and Guy have come up with is Africa is where we are all from. And I think many people don't know that. It sounds weird. I remember growing up in Ireland, and Ireland barely knew anything about the rest of the world, and watching one of the world's first miniseries is Roots, and it's like, wait, we're all from fucking Africa? Which is, I mean, if you look at me, that's quite a shock. Everybody is from it's our home. And yet, there are no luxury brands. And that is also an aspiration of Procera. It is a luxury brand, because why should Africa not be a home of luxury? Italy, France, these were poor countries. They were not emblems of luxury by any means, until one day, not even that long ago, about 400 years ago, a dude said, hey, boom, that's going to be our thing. That's going to be our thing. So the fact that the place where we all come from is now creating a luxury brand and hoping to open the door, why should not African leather and African clothing and African electronics or whatever be a thing? And in a very modest way, I think Procera is that spearhead.
well, and I mean, I remember reading something about how there's going to be, the rate of expansion in the African continent is kind of mind-boggling to people that are, us dumb Americans who are kind of like, yeah, we've got New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, New Orleans where we are, and we're good. Like the fact there is so much expansion and so much untapped potential there that it seems like there's a lot of room for luxury brands like this to grow.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at the continent of Africa, it's huge, and the population of Africa is huge. And there's a lot of education, there's a lot of appreciation for what's happening in the home countries. And it's all different sectors. So whether it's food, whether it's leather products, whether it's fashion, whether it's spirits, there's quality to be found everywhere. And what happens is it's the same thing that happened with China. I mean, for the longest time, we all had the assumption that China was just the world's factory, that they didn't know how to produce quality. But China is producing some of the best quality in the world right now. They're leading with technology. They're leading with expertise. They're leading with education now. And this is within one generation. And the thing is, because of that history, and within Africa, we have a strong relationship with China because they have a similar history. They understand where they've come from or where they've gotten to. So when they come and they see, as he says, Europe was not always rich. The US was not always rich. They became rich. They became what they are today. And they became what they are today by what they've discovered and the products and the services and the culture that they espoused. So similarly with Africa, it's a very rich continent. We have 2,000 languages in Africa. Like I said, numerous countries. There's so much history. There's so much tradition. I mean, I was having a conversation earlier today. We have cultures that are 2,000 years old. We have Ethiopia, which has a Christian culture, which has a written language for 2,000 years. Where I come from, we have cities and towns that are 1,000 years old. Very few people in the world know this. And this is a time for us to show the world that we're not just what people think we are. There's a lot more to what we're doing. And that's what Procera is all about. I mean, the brunch, the sundowners, the dinners, the things that we're doing is to showcase what we are doing. And it's not just us. Our process and our objective is to showcase everybody. So I have friends who are chefs in London, friends who are chefs in Singapore, Africans who are just really pushing the boundaries and showing quality and showing mind-boggling, incredibly delicious luxury products. And that's what we want to do.
I mean, the hottest reservation, I don't know if I'm sure you know, Greg, the hottest reservation in Manhattan right now, forget about 11 Madison Park, is actually Tatiana, which is a largely Ghanaian place in Lincoln Center. You know,
And you go to Paris, Musuke in Paris
Exactly.
is a
Yeah,
Senegalese
yeah.
restaurant. You cannot get a reservation in 6 months for that place. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, even while I'm here, I'm going to try and have a dinner at Dakar one night, which I'm really excited about.
Exactly.
Which brings me to the last point that I wanted to bring up, because we were planning this podcast poolside for a very, very long time, and the sun was out, and we were like, this would be fantastic. And literally, as soon as we got into the pool with a bunch of recording equipment, thunder started up ahead. So we've already tempted fate enough. But I wanted to ask you, what are some of your plans for Tales? What other activations are you doing while you're here?
So this is my second Tales. This is my third time in New Orleans. So we have a couple more events
What's
here.
your non-Tales based New Orleans story? You glossed over that so fast. I feel like maybe there's an embarrassing story, and I'm gonna make you tell it if there is.
There isn't an embarrassing story. I trained in California, University of California, so I'm a brewer by training. I set up the first microbrewery in Kenya. They called Sierra Premium Brewers. That was years ago when I didn't have white hair on my face.
The brewing profession.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So that was the first time I was in New Orleans. The second time was last year for the first time in Tales. I'm relearning whatever little that I learned about New Orleans. There's so much to learn. And again, I'm a chef as well. So the food here in New Orleans is just amazing. I mean, the flavors are very close to my heart. I mean, the intensity of flavors, the richness, the spices, and everything, and the fat as well. So that's one of the things I want to explore the restaurants, the food scene.
Fun fact, last year at Tales, I ate so much good food, I literally almost died. It's a fun story. I covered it a little bit on my Instagram. You can check it out. I'll tell you after this is done. But as you can see, I'm on. New Orleans didn't win. I have not been killed, and I'm back for more.
As we are.
What is your advice, speaking of the death-defying act that is coming to Tales of the Cocktail, what would be your advice for people who are here for the first time?
Pace yourself.
Yes. Jesus Christ. Phil, what about you? What's your advice for newbies?
Well, I was inside the Citadel for a decade. I was the education director. The advice hasn't changed, and the statistics haven't changed. Every year, Tulane University, the place that your kids get into if they can't go somewhere credible, does a big research report, and it's never changed in more than 20 years of Tales. 50% of Tales attendees are newcomers, and they are the people. So my advice, as well as pace yourself, as well as hydrate, is when you go to a party, an event, or you come to the House of Procera or the Australian Embassy thing that I'm running, which is amazing on Thursday, when you come, don't just, if you don't recognize somebody, don't think, it's a consumer. No, go and say hi. That's a new bartender. They might have started working in 2020 or 2021 or 2022. They're 2 or 3 years in now. They're going to be a bar director in a year or two, buying $10 million worth of booze a year. Go and say hi, because they don't know anybody, and you do. That's my advice. Shake hands, kiss babies, build bridges.
What a beautiful note to end on. Well, hey, in absentia, thanks to Guy, I guess maybe he had to pee, and I really appreciate the fact that he didn't do it in the pool. But
So do we.
Alan, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
And we're going to be
Mr. Benson, always a pleasure.
Mr. Phil, likewise. And I guess we're doing this on.
It's a
both of our
collab.
feeds.
It's what the kids call a collab.
Yes, a collab.
It's a collab.
Cross promotion. We're going to be doing this again Thursday, maybe.
We're doing it Thursday with, arguably the only people who are more fun than Kenyans, which is Australians.
Those people,
Like a whole team of Australians, plus Ted Bro, New Orleans native, creator of Lucid Absinthe, and formulator of Dale de Groff's Spirits Bitter Aperitivo and Amaro. So tune in for the next Speakeasy Philip Duff Show collab.
Yes, and this is my solemn vow to you. It will be out in less than a week, and we will still all be shirtless. But
Yes.
now, we're going to stop tempting fate and get out of here before we all get electrocuted. So,
Bingo.
until next time, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll, Lord knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The